Hope you enjoyed this activity organized by PRESSENZA, International Press Agency and Nonviolence. So my name is Javier Tolcachir, and I will moderate this roundtable. I would like to present the members of the table, and then I will very brief introduction. So we have here with us Maisa Isawi from Tunis. Hello, Maisa.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. And we have also from Santiago, from Chile, from Santiago.
Hola,
Pia.
hola, hola.
We have also here Elena Shubina. Hello, Elena.
Hello, hello, everybody.
And we have Mohammad Bayazid Jesore from Bangladesh.
Hello. Hello.
We thank also Antonio Carvalho for his excellent work in the interpretation cabin. Hola, Antonio. And we are waiting for Walker Vizcarra who will join in a very short time. So, as you know, journalism and communication play a crucial role in shaping the social commons. However, the current system, driven by values that contradict human evolution, exploits its vast dissemination mechanisms to perpetuate various forms of violence. The corporate-controlled media and digital platforms amplify hate speech and disinformation on a massive scale while restricting and violating the fundamental human right to communication. In response, grassroots voices are rising, demanding deep transformations in the way information is produced and shared. At this critical moment, nonviolent journalism, rooted in the highest human aspirations, emerges as a necessary utopia. This is the utopia that is building our international news agency, PRESSENZA, which emerged 16 years ago in the context of the first March for Peace and Nonviolence. To comment some of the diverse and multiple aspects that constitute the work of PRESSENZA, listen to some of its protagonists who come from different cultures and regions, opening the path to a type of communication event with the image of a universal human nature. But before we do so, and we give them the word, paragraphs about the agency. PRESSENZA is an international news agency with a humanist spirit and a non-violent approach, dedicated to giving visibility to news initiatives, proposals, and perspectives related to peace, non-violence, armament, human rights, and the fight against all forms of discrimination. It places the human being at the center of its concerns, celebrates diversity, and promotes journalism that upholds these essential values, aiming to address crises and conflicts worldwide. For this, PRESSENZA disseminates studies, analyses, and that contribute to global peace and the eradication of violence, with a particular focus on nuclear and conventional disarmament, peaceful resolution, and the withdrawal from occupied territories. At the same time, PRESSENZA exposes events and conditions that cause suffering, seeking to understand and transform their root causes while encouraging people to become of change. Additionally, the agency provides training in nonviolent journalism for students, leaders, and volunteers. Now, we will give the floor to our panelists. So I call Figueroa. Pia Figueroa is co-director of PRESSENZA, and it's a founder, long-standing humanist, and of several monographs and books. Please, Pia, the floor is yours.
Gracias, Javier. Antonio, disculpa, pero voy a hablar en español. Y quiero saludar, decir a todos que estoy muy contenta de estar acá y les doy una gran bienvenida a este evento. Aprovecho de señalar que Walker me pide, Javier, que le mandes el link correcto. Yo ya se lo mandé 2 veces, pero no logra entrar. De todas maneras, me parece que más allá de estos detalles de los links, de los Zoom, este simposio internacional es un extraordinario evento. Lo he seguido y me parece un ámbito de reflexión, de cultura de primer nivel, un espacio para el debate y una verdadera fiesta humanista. Así es que felicitaciones al Centro Mundial de Estudios Humanistas por esta tremenda organización. Y agradezco en especial a Javier.
Un segundo.
Sí.
Que me olvidé al principio de que las personas que quieren recibir en inglés tienen que ir al icono, el globito que está abajo, el globito de interpretación, y lo mismo los que quieren escuchar en español, hay en el ese que está en el menú abajo, en interpretación, tienen que elegir el idioma en el que quieren escuchar. Seguramente algunos amigos habrán perdido lo que yo era tan importante, así que no hay problema.
Además, va a ser más o menos parecido a lo que yo voy a decir, porque esa es la agencia, ¿no? No es tan diferente. De todas maneras, te quiero agradecer a ti, Javier, porque gracias a tu impulso y a las invitaciones que estamos participando todas nosotros en este panel sobre la necesaria utopía del periodismo no violento y los desafíos que enfrenta la comunicación para una transformación social. Entonces, bueno, más que teorizar al respecto, yo quisiera aprovechar de mostrarles lo que creo que puede ser la contribución que yo puedo hacer, que es describirles un poco cómo hemos ido trabajando en nuestra Agencia Internacional de Noticias PRESSENZA para intentar comunicar convicciones que a nosotros nos impulsan a cambiar la realidad social. Sabemos que desde distintos lugares se hacen intentos por llegar a una inflexión de los procesos sociales, culturales y políticos, como lo están haciendo actualmente varios pueblos de nuestro continente. Brasil, por ejemplo, Colombia, Cuba, México especialmente, en esta nueva etapa de la cuarta transformación, buscando mejores condiciones de vida no solo para la mayoría de la gente, sino también para las demás especies, dado que nos encontramos en una de las crisis globales ambientales más importantes de la historia. Conocemos la situación de nuestros pueblos, que han sido sumamente discriminados y maltratados y excluidos durante siglos, acá en América Latina, particularmente por el colonialismo, el racismo, el machismo, el clasismo, el imperialismo y el neoliberalismo, y también por lo que en términos más recientes ya se está comenzando a llamar el tecnofeudalismo, con prácticas que han tenido todas en común una tremenda violencia física, incluso armada, pero también una violencia religiosa, económica, racial, de género, psicológica y moral. Violencia que está teniendo sus aspectos más dolorosos en los tan crueles conflictos bélicos actuales, los asesinatos, el desplazamiento y las migraciones de tantísimas personas, en la amenaza nuclear y en la inseguridad, el exilio, la deportación, la persecución política y la represión, la amenaza a las mujeres y la falta de futuro para los jóvenes en un mundo desestructurado, fracturado, sometido a un capitalismo insensible y voraz. Esta concentración económica, cada vez más elitista y despiadada, no duda en utilizar la manipulación de la información, de la práctica periodística al servicio de sus intereses. Por eso es que las mejores intenciones deben enfrentar a un discurso de odio, de falsedad y difamación. Una estrategia que va arrastrando hacia la desconfianza y la sospecha para disminuir al máximo la participación social y el compromiso con lo colectivo. Es en este contexto en que pusimos en pie desde el año 2009 a nuestra Agencia Internacional de Noticias, tratando de hacer un periodismo no violento simultáneamente desde 23 diferentes países, donde organizamos equipos de voluntarios en forma paritaria, horizontal, donde se colabora solo por gusto y en los temas que a cada quien le atraen más, basándonos en un enfoque humanizador de la comunicación propio de las ideas del nuevo humanismo. ¿No es cierto? Hemos construido con el tiempo una red de reciprocidad informativa que actualmente cuenta con más de 400 partners. Ellos son nuestros aliados comunicacionales, medios de comunicación y agencias con las que convergemos en nuestros propósitos y con quienes trabajamos en sintonía, republicándonos los contenidos de unos y de otros. Emitimos, como lo dijo Javier ya, y generamos noticias diariamente en 10 idiomas, en inglés, francés, italiano, alemán, en portugués, en español, en catalán, en griego, y desde el año pasado, ya nos va a comentar Elena también en ruso, y nos comentará Maisa en árabe, estando recién incorporando al idioma bangla y por lanzar la redacción en urdú desde Pakistán como la 12ª lengua. Y vale la pena decir que en nuestro relato se evidencia que el punto de vista, la mirada, la subjetividad está siempre presente e influye decisivamente en la interpretación de cada acontecimiento, tanto en quien hace las veces de comunicador o comunicadora, como en quienes desde las audiencias interactúan con la información. A la base de este acerto está la comprensión de que la conciencia humana no es pasiva, sino por el contrario, es activa y capaz de dotar de sentido, incidiendo sobre lo que tan ingenuamente solemos llamar realidad objetiva. Este es el punto de partida para un tipo de narrativa intencional que creemos fundamental para abrir el futuro, una óptica que destaca en su agenda temática todo esfuerzo en favor de la paz y el desarme, el cumplimiento de los derechos humanos, el cuidado del medio ambiente, la no discriminación, la no violencia en cualquiera de sus manifestaciones, el entendimiento entre las personas y los pueblos. Tratamos de rescatar el aporte de cada una de las culturas sin discriminación alguna, a lo que podríamos llamar una futura nación humana universal en la que todos tengamos cabida. Una agenda que considera la información como bien social, que destaca los posibles efectos de demostración, originados en un punto pero multiplicables en otras latitudes, y releva las voces de quienes no tienen voz en los medios masivos de comunicación. Es de gran interés para el periodismo no violento salir de la agenda dictada por el sistema, hacerse eco de los relatos provenientes de la base social, de todas aquellas personas y comunidades invisibilizadas o violentadas por el poder, de quienes discrepan de los discursos oficiales y cuestionan lo establecido, valorando la libertad de pensamiento y de creencias. De especial interés es para PRESSENZA dar espacio a las distintas corrientes del humanismo en todas sus manifestaciones, las reflexiones y análisis de quienes han sido formados en nuestra propia matriz doctrinaria y que aplican su acción a diversos campos sociales, culturales, espirituales o políticos. Abrimos la agenda hacia temas y propuestas que movilizan cambios positivos o muestran actitudes ejemplares de no violencia en las sociedades y en las personas. Nuevas construcciones que, aunque inicialmente pequeñas, son semillas de esperanza en detrimento de un relato violento y sirven de ejemplo de demostración de que otro estilo de vida sustentable, paritario, inclusivo, pacífico, coherente, es efectivamente posible. Al mismo tiempo, es necesario abordar de forma crítica las múltiples situaciones de violencia que hoy existen, apuntando a revelar las que con frecuencia son causas estructurales y no simplemente coyunturales. Este punto es muy importante, ya que no se trata de construir relatos que oculten el impacto que tiene la violencia, sino todo lo contrario. Así como este enfoque considera inaceptable la violencia en cualquiera de sus formas, también aborda la necesidad de incluir la denuncia, situando a los acontecimientos en un contexto que los abarque y ayude a elaborar, difundir y movilizar hacia alternativas de superación. Perspectivas que este periodismo sitúa desde la esperanza y el aliento, dando prioridad informativa a la resolución no violenta de los conflictos. Por ello, insta a incluir los procesos de reconciliación como una noticia destacada, reforzando la necesidad de una crítica enfática a toda forma de venganza, explícita o sutil. Sin embargo, todos sabemos que no basta con enunciados, sino que necesitamos también trabajar con nosotros mismos a fin de transformar nuestra mirada y abrirnos hacia nuevos horizontes. Es decir, la necesidad de que trabajemos accediendo a nuevos paisajes en nuestro interior, dando lugar a la esperanza y acompañando los cambios imprescindibles en el escenario social. El periodismo humanista es entonces una herramienta de cambio simultáneo en lo más personal e íntimo, como también en lo social, y es llevado a cabo por una militancia que pone en juego sus convicciones, levantando una agencia que además prescinde de los recursos económicos que pudieran manipular su trabajo y proclama su libertad editorial, como condición indispensable para incomodar y cuestionar al poder. Es un intento que vale la pena levantar en tiempos en los que la avalancha informativa anula la comunicación y en los que el individualismo favorece el olvido del compromiso social. Es la práctica que nos dignifica como seres humanos y cuya experiencia hemos resumido en este libro, que acá se los muestro, este libro, que acá es la edición en español, pero que está traducido y publicado en varios idiomas y que se consigue en cualquier país gracias a Busca Libre, además, que utilizamos nosotros como base para los talleres de capacitación en el tipo de periodismo no violento que ejercemos. Con esto les agradezco nuevamente la posibilidad de participar en este simposio y desde ya paso la palabra a quien me sigue. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Pía, muchas gracias. Vamos a dar un momento para que Antonio respire.
¿Por qué fui muy rápido?
Chile es así, Pía, ya sabemos que los chilenos son muy avanzados, son muy veloces,
Lo
pero no
lamento,
quería
lo lamento, pero
interrumpir.
Antonio también es chileno.
Por eso pudo seguirte el tren. Para que también nos organicemos y we welcome the friends who arrived a little. Welcome friends from Bangladesh, welcome friends from France, from the Czech Republic, from Argentina, from Peru, Ecuador, from so many places who joined this this activity. When you want to English interpretation, you have to go to the globus, to the icon of the globus in the menu and select English. Si quieren recibir la traducción en español, tienen que ir al menú de abajo y en el globito que simboliza el mundo, seleccionar. Así, si todos nos organizamos de ese modo, todos vamos a poder participar igualitariamente de esta actividad. So, our next speaker, our very dear and beloved Maisa Isawi from Tunis. The floor is yours, Maisa. Maisa is Arabic editor in PRESSENZA. She is BA in English language, literature, and civilization. Please, Maisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Javier, for this small introduction. And thank you, Antonio, also for the interpretation. And thank you, Pia, for, for starting this. So to start talking a bit about myself, I am Maita. I'm from Tunisia, a country that has taught the world the power of collective action and the strong desire for dignity. Today, I am here as a citizen journalist, a translator, and an advocate for nonviolent journalism with PRESSENZA. My journey with the press agency started in 2022 and began with a simple question: what does nonviolent journalism mean, and how can I participate in this form of journalism? At the time, I was completing
Maisa, please a little
yeah.
bit more slowly so that Antonio can properly translate into Spanish.
Okay, got it. Okay. So, as I will say, so my journey with PRESSENZA started in 2022 and began with a simple question: what does nonviolent journalism mean, and how can I practice this form of journalism? At the time, I was completing my master's degree, and searching for ways to make a meaningful impact. When I stumbled upon PRESSENZA's course on nonviolent journalism, I was intrigued by the term nonviolent and its association with journalism. Several questions came to my mind. Why nonviolent journalism? Why not peaceful journalism instead, for example? Is nonviolent journalism neutral? Why? And how does the word nonviolent get linked to journalism? So, as I delved into learning and practicing writing articles through that approach, I became more familiar with the term and admired how it aligned details with the humanist movement, a movement that puts the person at the center. I learned that journalism as a field can never be neutral. It is rather very subjective. Therefore, instead of using it to serve a personal or political agenda, we should rather perceive it as a means to promote humanity and give voice to the marginalized. This journey taught me that journalism can be a means to promote unity instead of division, and to inspire hope and action instead of despair and passivity. The journalism that we promote is one that seeks to empower people to envision and work towards a peaceful world. It is not simply a method of reporting the news. It is a movement that puts human rights at the center and nonviolence as an aspect. Nonviolent journalism, thus, as defined by PRESSENZA, advances towards the future, creating narratives for the intentions and actions of a human transformation towards a reality free from the many forms of oppression, from the many grotesque faces of violence. PRESSENZA became a global movement with numerous articles being written and translated every single day from different languages. As a representative of the Arabic section, I can clearly see how important our work is in the region. PRESSENZA became a means to ensure that the voices from the MENA region are heard beyond its borders, while also making sure that global struggles and solutions are accessible to Arabic speaking audiences. As someone from the Middle East and North Africa, learning about nonviolent journalism provided me with a glimpse of hope and made me realize that in spite of how corrupt the world is, we can still do something to move beyond that and to make some real change in the world. The struggles we face in MENA are not isolated. They are part of a global crisis that includes climate change, inequality, and the erosion of human rights. This region in particular has been more associated with those terms and was one of the most affected places by these global crises. The region has been suffering from conflict, inequality, and political instability, much of which is driven by the external forces seeking to divide and dominate. Tracing the root causes of this instability takes us back through centuries of war, consolidation, and corruption. Yet, despite these challenges, the people have demonstrated incredible resilience, mutual support, and a strong sense of solidarity. However, international media often reduces our region to simplistic narratives of violence and despair. We became associated with terrorism, violence, and instability. This narrow portrayal overlooks the rich cultural diversity, historical significance, and the countless stories of resilience hope, and progress that define our region. By focusing simply on conflict, the media failed to capture the full essence and the full spectrum of our lived experiences and reduced us to one-dimensional stories that do not reflect the complexity and the humanity of our people. This is precisely why nonviolent journalism, for us and for me, became a radical act of resilience and resistance. It does not ignore the conflict, but seeks to understand its causes and highlight peaceful alternatives. It refuses to contribute to the cycle of fear and division that mainstream media perpetuate. In a region where resistance is often equated with violence, we show that nonviolence is not passivity. It is an active stance against oppression, a way to reclaim our narratives and to reshape our future. As a Tunisian, I could experience at first hand the impact of the 2011 revolution, both on my country and in the MENA region as a whole. Tunisia was an example that showed the world how powerful the desire for freedom and dignity can get. Through collective action and peaceful non-violent means, Tunisia showcased to the world that changing decades of oppression is possible as long as people believed in the cause they're fighting for and working together towards the common good. The path after the revolution has not been easy, though. We had to fight misinformation, polarization, and seek to maintain that peace in spite of all the challenges that we faced in our path towards democracy. In a world where media is often weaponized, nonviolent journalism became a radical act of hope and defiance. Mainstream media has been playing an active role in shaping perceptions, serving political and economic interests while silencing dissenting voices. People started losing trust and faith in the news, and even questioning the reports and the choices of words used by most media channels. This is directly challenged by PRESSENZA, as it offered a platform that prioritizes humanity and truth over profit and resists the distortion of information. By sharing original articles in Arabic, we're giving voice to the voiceless. By reshaping articles from our partners, we're making that information more widespread and more heard. By translating articles from other languages to Arabic, we're making sure that the Arabic speakers can see that the world shares common values. Translating content to Arabic comes with its challenges, though. It is not a straightforward practice, for example. Each word choice plays a role and carries weight. We seek to maintain the original message and ensure that the tone aligns with the values we stand for. I envision and promote a world of peace, justice, and dignity. Though it may seem far-fetched, our collective voices can and will be able to make a difference. Each one of us has to take action, no matter how small, whether through journalism, activism, or simply through attending similar events and engaging with others. We can all contribute and create a path towards a world of peace, non-violence, and humanism. And this is why I believe in this God. And thank you all.
Shukran, Maisa. Thank you very much. Remain in my ear the sentence of nonviolence as a radical act of hope and Very poetic, very nice, very true. Thank you. So now we call the next speaker. For the friends who came later, please go to the main menu, to the bottom, where interpretation is available. Is it still available? Yes. And choose either Spanish or English. Para los que recién llegaron, vayan al menú abajo, al globito, y elijan inglés como el idioma en el que prefieren escuchar. ¿Vamos bien, Antonio? ¿O otro momento de otro respiro? So we call the next speaker with Mr. Muhammad Bayezid Jessorey from Bangladesh, from Asia. Please, Bayezid, I will present you. Bayezid is an climate activist, ecological activist. Is a PRESSENZA author in Bangladesh, activist on climate change and youth leadership development. So the floor is yours, Bayezid. On.
Good afternoon, good morning. Yes. Yeah. Good afternoon, good morning, and greetings to everyone present here today. I would like to thank the organizer, presenter, interpreter, and all you are here. Thank you very much. It's a great honor and distinct pleasure for me to be part of this important event. I'm MD Bayezid Jessorey. I have had the privilege to work in various universities in Bangladesh and Germany, both as a lecturer and researcher. I was born and raised in Khulna, a city in Bangladesh that is among the most climate affected area in the country. Growing up in Khulna, I had witnessed fitness of diverse effects of climate change: intense heat wave, frequent silent, food and steam over, several storms. I have seen the rivers erosions and land leaving many people is becoming homeless. I have seen farmers lose their livelihood as the sea level rise and salinity increase the land they once cultivated. In fact, many families around me have experienced the harsh economic and social consequences of climate change. This experience has become my motivation. And they fuel my passion to continue working on climate change issue. Today, I stand before you, engaged in an important discussion on how climate change is no longer just an environmental issue. It is also deeply connected with social and economic and even violent conflict. I'm working with PRESSENZA and other climate-focused organizations to raise awareness and take action on this global crisis. Let's begin my understanding of magnitude of challenge we face. Climate change is not distinct or abstract problem. It's a global crisis, one that is already reshaping our world. Its impacts are felt across all the continents. from the rising sea to extreme weather events like heat waves, droughts, floods, and wildfires. We are seeing disruption of ecosystem, threat to food security, and rapid spread of diseases, and increased risk of coastal community like mine that are already at risk of displacement. These consequences often lead to economic losses and human displacement, creating rapid effects that shapes through the societies. Let me highlight some global impact of climate change. Sea level rise. Melting of gaseous ice shield has led to the rise of ocean level, threatening coastal areas and making them more susceptible to the flooding. Extreme weather events were experienced more frequent and severe heat waves, droughts, floods, hurricanes, and wildfires to atmosphere continue to warm. Biodiversity loss. As climate patterns shift, ecosystems are disrupted, and species either migrate or face extinctions, food insecurity. Challenging weather patterns are threatening agriculture productions, leading to potential food storage in many regions in the world. Water scarcity. Reduced precipitation in certain regions in causing water shortage, further salinity already scarce resources. Human health impact. Extreme heat as well as challenges in diseases patterns are continuing to spread vector-borne illness in heat-related health issues. Economic losses. Extreme weather events are causing damage to infrastructure, agriculture, and coastal communities, leading to substantial economic loss globally. While much of the discourse of climate change has focused on the environmental aspect of the crisis, there is another critical dimension that is often overlooked: social and economical violence accelerated the climate change. As global temperature rise and vital resources become scarce, we are seeing the rise of conflict, insecurity, inequity. Climate change has become direct drivers to social and economical violence, especially the regions that are already fragile. The scarcity of resource, displacement, and increased economic inequity all contribute to this growth crisis. Let's explore the key in which climate change contributes to the social economic violence. One of the most distinct ways climate change fuels violence through resource scarcity. As droughts become more frequent and intense, water sources dry, crops fail, livestock die. This particular evidence in regions that are heavily relevant to agriculture, such as Sub-Saharan Africa and parts of Asia. In these regions, resource scarcity often leads to intense competition of water, arable land, and other vital resources. The competitions can fuel tensions between communities, ethical groups, and even enter nations. While resources become scarce, people are most likely to fight for survivals, leading to outbreak of violence. Another significant consequences of climate change is displacement. As sea level rise and extreme weather events become more frequent, millions of people are forced to leave their homes in search of safety and livelihood. This mass migration strains resources in host communities, leading to resettlement of sometimes violence against migrants and refugees. In addition, the displacement of entire population often accelerate pre-existing social tension. We have seen the unfold regions like Middle East and Central America, where people-induced migrant has contributed to violence and conflict. The effect of climate change disappointingly affected marginalized and vulnerable communities. Small-scale farmers, indigenous people, and low-income urban dwellers are often inherited by the environmental degradations. Environmental activities are defender and at the most front of the right against climate change. The advocate for sustainable practices, protect nature, resource, and raise awareness about urgent need for action. However, these individuals often face threats, limitation, and violence from powerful interests and opposites of change. Whether it's indigenous leader rising hand or grassroots organization protecting polluted industries, climate change and violence are tangibly interviewed in the struggles of environmental defenders. We must recognize and protect those who are working tirelessly to safeguard the planet for the future generations. To effectively address the connection between climate change and violence, we need to adopt multi-force approaches. First and furthermore, we must focus on mitigating the impact of the climate change. To prevent the severity of escalating. This includes transitioning to renewable energy sources, promoting sustainable land management practices, and prioritizing conservational effort to preserve ecosystem and biodiversity. Secondly, we must focus on building resilience in communities that are most vulnerable to climate change. This involves ensuring these communities have resources, knowledges, and support system necessary to withstand environmental storm. It is essential to empower local populations with the tools and knowledge they need to adapt changing conditions. Moreover, addressing the root cause of social and economic inequality, it is critical to prevent violence in the face of climate change. We must prioritize equitable economic policies, protect the rights of marginalized groups, and foster inclusion decision-making process. This will not only help to prevent violence, but also ensure that everyone, regardless of their socioeconomic status, has a fair chance to thrive in this challenging world. Additionally, we need to strengthen mechanisms for conflict resolutions and peace building in regions most affected by the climate-induced tension. This can help prevent conflict from escalating into violence and ensure the communities have the tools to support the need to address grievances peacefully. In Bangladesh, where I came from, climate change is already a harsh reality. Unfortunately, many local communities still have limited understanding of issues. And this is lack of climate literacy makes it harder to mobilize collective actions. To address this, I involved in a youth climate education project where we teach young people and basic climate science, climate business development, green jobs, and higher education opportunity in the field of climate change. We believe that education, the next generation, is one of the most powerful ways to combat the climate change and its consequences. By equipping young people with the knowledge and skills to address the climate crisis, we are not only preparing them to future challenges, but also empowering them to become leaders in fighting for the more sustainable and equitable world. In conclusions, climate change is not just an environmental issue. It's a crisis that touches every aspect of life, from the resource we depend on to the economic system sustain us. and the social structure behind us. Climate-induced social and economic violence is a growing reality, and we must urgently mitigate its impact, protect vulnerable communities, and prevent conflict. It requires collective actions, force on justice and equity, and commitment to building a more resilient and peaceful world for all. I thank you all for your attention, and I look forward to contribute your work together addressing the challenge posed by the climate change. Let us stand and unite our commitment to creating more sustainable, just and peaceful future. Thank you very much. সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ.
Thank you very much, Bayezid. Very interesting. I take one of your last sentences. Climate change is not just an environmental issue. It is a that touches every aspect of our lives. Thank you very much, Bayezid, for instructing us. And so we will pass the floor to our next speaker, our very, very dear and beloved Elena Shubina from Russia. I will present you, Elena, briefly. Elena is a translator in the Russian edition of PRESSENZA. She has translated more than 160 articles into Russian, many of them related to Siloism, to humanism, to our points of view in the aim to reach the Russian public. Please, Elena, the floor is yours.
Thank you for introducing me, Javier. It's a great pleasure for me to be with you, and it's great honor and pleasure for me to participate in this event. I'm very happy to be part of this project. For me, the invitation to take part in it was a response to my personal eternal request. What can I personally do for this world? My participation in this project brings me a deep and complex sense.
Elena, wait a little bit. I am not sure if Antonio is there to translate into Spanish. Wait a moment. He's there. Wait a moment. Maybe he has disconnected.
Okay.
So that our friends in Spanish also can understand what you're saying. I don't know if Antonio is there. Antonio? Someone else can us translating from English into Spanish? I think so. It's something can volunteer for this time? Because I don't see. Okay, David Meléndez, thank you. Leo, ¿puedes poner a David M. Vina de inglés, por favor?
Sí, no hay
Inglés al
problema.
español. Bueno, avísanos, David, cuando estés en la cabina.
Ya.
Y entonces Elena, pues, gracias, David. Un fuerte abrazo.
Listo, David. Probalo, por favor.
So,
Sí, te escucho perfecto.
fantastic. So, Elena, you can go on now. Thank you.
As I said before, I make translations of publications of PRESSENZA in Russian. I'm very happy to be part of this project. For me, the invitation to take part in it was a response to my personal eternal request. What can I personally do for this world? My participation in this project brings me a deep and complete sense of self-fulfillment. I fully share the principles on which PRESSENZA bases its activities, and the ways and approaches to implementing these ideas are very close to me. I like the performance of information that is presented in the coverage of events and facts, as objectively as the subjectivity of human mind allows. The problems that exist in our society are highlighted without looking for the guilty, but offering to see them, realize and find a solution for them. New and ambitious models are presented, which often seem utopian at the first sight, but give hope that everything can be changed and that there are a real solution to these problems. PRESSENZA publishes opinions of people and specialists who provide other ways to build a society and interact between people based on diversity, non-violence, and the elimination of discrimination of all kinds, where a person is the main value. In my opinion, one of the excellent advantages of the agency is the way relationship and activities are built within the team, where the principles proclaimed are implemented in practice. Each participant had the opportunity to show his initiative, contribute his own vision and ideas. The freedom is given to choose the topics that the employee want to highlight. As Sila said, evolution, development, and progress of the society are born out of our million of interpretations, where everyone can be an active creator of the world in which wants to live. This relationship can already be an excellent example of how a society of universal human nation can be arranged. They prove that the ideas they are based on are not utopias. This is a practical proof that the world can exist without violence, that a human being can be a supreme value, and that the entire system of government can be subordinated to his interests. The creativity and love, cooperation and creative interaction between people can exist in the world. And for me, this is a good practical example that all this is absolutely real. Another important factor for me is that PRESSENZA refused to depend on, on any financial sources and created its system on a charitable basis, ensuring freedom of expression of its ideas without anyone's influence. This gives a great driving force and supports the sincere intention of agency and each of its employees to contribute to the creative transformation of our world civilization. Today, I would like to talk about the spiritual aspects of a social and personal life of the people. I see that spirituality nowadays has been reduced to empty rituals and mindless mumblings of religious texts. Is discriminated against and declared as a way to escape from the fear of death. Modern ruling forces in whose hands all the power is concentrated, not only material, but also the possibility to manipulate the conscience of huge number of people and who don't have a high level of spirituality and consciousness. These people strive only for the external attributes of status, power and money, not being masters of their lives and not believing in themselves and their own force. They use the lowest ways to control people. Instead of revealing people's true creative potential, help people open their hearts in order for them to become happy and enrich their lives and the world around them. They want people not only to be unaware of their inner force, but consider themselves so weak that they cannot even cope with their own lives without help, that they are insignificant insects. They must live in petty worries, so that the only value for them has to be an immeasurable consumerism, which would be considered as a measure of their self-worth. People are being turned into a gray, thoughtless mess that could be controlled by fear, violence, bitterness, and self-doubt. Moreover, they shrouded people in network of disinformation, telling them that there are screws in the system, making them slaves of manipulations, inventing the concept of countries, nations, uttering loud words that in the name of protection of the motherland, they must sacrifice their lives. In fact, they achieve mercantile in Laura's goals, in dividing the influence and resources of the planet among them. This completely reverses the idea that states are just an infrastructure created to serve a person, and people clothed in power are only authorized service personnel of society. But the spirituality means exactly the opposite. It's a driving force that reveals the potential of every person, helping him to realize himself, his needs, the meaning of his life, his value, and the place in this world. The meaning of his existence awakens in him the highest feelings, like love, compassion, mercy, and cooperation. It helps him to understand that he's a part of divine reality and its co-creator. A person learns to appreciate his love, find its meaning. He comprehends transcendence and his connection with the entire universe and other people. He understands his power to influence on the reality around him. Fortunately, there are many sources of the spiritual wisdom in the world. Personally, about 2 years ago, I discovered the message of Sila, which became a guidance for me, which helps me to change my life, develop spiritually, and find answers in problematic situations. During this period of my acquaintance with the message and the people who followed its teachings, my life changed dramatically. I really like how the activity of teaching of the principles of the message is organized. Meetings are not just about discussing Sila's ideas, but as well as about their practical application in everyday life and building one's thinking and behavior in accordance with them. At the meetings, events of life of the participants are analyzed, and their practical experiences are described in loving, supportive, interesting atmosphere between them. Meditation practices help you open your heart, find love, compassion, establish a deep connection with other people. For me, the Sila community became a second family. And I can no longer imagine my life without the message and its followers. These 2 years gave me much more than all my previous spiritual researches and personal growth methods. The message of Sila is a wonderful way to overcome internal confrontation, hatred, misunderstanding of what is happening in life, where to move, what ideals to strive for, how to find your way in life, how to find its meaning, facing yourself in your own force, to understand that you are an active creator, not only of your life, but also you can make a huge contribution to building a happy society that coexists in peace, harmony, and enriching interaction. I like the way the message is created. It helps to develop and reflect without giving ready-made answers, as does the propaganda of modern media. His principles and ideas are so multifaceted that everyone can find their own meaning. Each time reading gives you a new discovery, combining previous experience and finding new life scenarios that are enriched by the practice of other followers who share it with you. Communities of his followers, which are located in almost all countries of the world, are an excellent proof of his effectiveness and deep wisdom. The humanist movement was born from the teaching of Sila and formed the basis of the principles of PRESSENZA. For me, that is a tool that I personally focus on, and I would like to introduce it to as many people as possible. The proof of the truth and spiritual profoundness of Sila's words is that they are being realized as prophecies in reality. These are the changes that are taking place in the world right now. As he predicted, some kind of tectonic shift has begun. I don't know who leading it. Maybe the universe, maybe some kind of law of evolution. But the ideas he described in his works are in the air. And many empty ideals that were imposed on us are being devalued. In their policies, many countries are turning in the direction of the principles that he predicted. It's a great time to get involved in this process and help it to develop in the right way. I'm very glad that one of the areas chosen by PRESSENZA for coverage is a spiritual development. And this is not only about rebuilding a society which can unite, choose solidarity and creative interaction as its ideals, but also a big place in the activities of PRESSENZA is devoted to the spiritual development of each individual. For my part, thanks to the agency's freedom to choose publications that can be placed in the Russian division, I make great emphasis on articles that are based on the message of Sila, materials that reflect psychological aspects of personality and describe ways to help in unlocking the inner potential of each person. I would really like this information to reach as many people as possible in Russia, which has now turned into the regime state in which human rights and individuality are suppressed. It's promoted that each individual person has no value, that people are material for achieving the goals of the ruling elite. Any dissent is severely persecuted. Unfortunately, now the same policy is being implemented in many countries. But I remember very well the period when the decade of liberalization of Russia took place, how much society changed, how much richer people became internally, how much happy they were. I'm very sorry that the project that was organized by Sila and his followers in Russia has not been fully implemented. But this example, which ended in temporary failure, says that the changes are possible, how quickly they can occur, and that there is a subconscious need for them. I would like people to have the opportunity to see the other side, feel their importance, and unleash their inner potential. And I believe that PRESSENZA's work make a huge contribution to the establishment of people and freedom in the life of people all over the world. And I'm happy to be a part of this process. Thank you.
Spasiba, Elena. Thank you
Perdón,
very
Javier.
much. Sí, Jorge.
Nada, simplemente avisar que estamos a 10 minutos de terminar la sesión para empezar con la próxima. Llegado el caso, si fuera necesario, podrían pasar, entiendo, podría Leonardo hacernos pasar a una sala o a los que estén interesados para seguir conversando.
Sí, no hay problema.
Bueno, eso díganlo
Ok.
ustedes. Javier.
Ok, sí, porque no habrá tiempo esquema para preguntas que quizás la gente quiera hacer. Así que después podemos pasar a una sala más pequeña. Ya nos indicas, Leo, cómo hacer para quedarse. So
Perdón,
for
y
those,
gracias.
gracias. Bueno, many thanks, Elena. Very strong testimony. And we go to Walker Vizcarra from Ecuador, which now will explore. Walker es fotoperiodista y activista por la no violencia. Entonces, Walker, vamos a ver si cómo organizamos la traducción. ¿Tú puedes traducir al inglés, David? A ver, espera un momento, Walker. ¿Alguien puede traducir del español al inglés y Leo lo coloca en la cabina? Aprovecho para saludar a Tony, a Tatiana, a Sheikh, Arif. So many good friends from all over the world.
Yo
A
puedo,
Marcela de Chile.
yo puedo traducir, Javier.
Ok. Leo, coloca a Pía, por favor, en la cabina del español al inglés. Nos avisas cuando esté. Gracias, Pía. Thank you very much. Pia will translate Walker's speech. Tenemos un poquito menos de 10 minutos, Walker.
Sí, lo mío es breve.
Ahí
Gracias.
estoy
Decir
poniendo,
algo.
Gracias, Walker. Siempre.
ahí estoy poniendo a Pía.
Genial, Leo. Gracias.
English. Listo,
Nos
Pía.
avisa.
Listo, Pía.
Okay. I think she's interpreting now. Oh, wait a minute.
Pía. I'm here.
Wait a minute. Ok. Avanzamos, Walker. Por favor.
Ok,
Tuya es la palabra.
listo. Hola con todos y con todas. Yo soy Walker. Saludos desde Quito, Ecuador.
Más fuerte, Walker.
¿Ahí me escucha mejor? Ya. Hola con todos y con todas. Yo soy Walker. Saludos desde Quito, Ecuador. Lo que yo quisiera compartir es algo sobre cómo un fotoreportaje puede contribuir a una mirada no violenta. Preparé una brevísima presentación para tal vez aportar mejor desde las imágenes que desde un discurso hablado, consecuente, digamos, con el aporte que hago en Presenza desde la fotografía, desde que Presenza inició. ¿Ya? ¿Se ve en pantalla?
Sí.
Sí, ok. Bueno, en realidad son 6 puntos que iré muy brevemente. El primer punto tiene que ver con el reportaje fotográfico y, como les decía, cómo puede contribuir para construir una narrativa no violenta e inclusiva. El intento permanente de quienes aportamos con imágenes fotográficas en PRESSENZA tiene que ver con, primero, como reconocer que es una herramienta muy fuerte para poder comunicar una visión diferente, centrada sobre todo en la no violencia, en la paz, la inclusión y la valoración de la diversidad. Para nosotros, cuando intentamos aportar con imágenes, más importante que el tipo de cámara que vayamos a usar, porque lo podemos hacer hasta con celulares, es sobre todo la visión que queremos comunicar. Pensamos también que la fotografía es una herramienta de cambio y que nuestra práctica fotográfica se convierte en una acción que transforma y no solo documenta, sino que ayuda a construir otra realidad, una nueva realidad, una más inclusiva, más igualitaria y más respetuosa de los derechos humanos. Cuando estamos haciendo coberturas, el desafío permanente es como encontrar esa otra situación que nos permite ver otra dimensión de algo que está pasando. Puede ser una marcha, puede ser una cosa muy fuerte, pero buscando uno encuentra otras situaciones para mostrar y visibilizar los conflictos desde otra óptica. Una pregunta que siempre nos hacemos es cómo elegimos de fotografiar y cómo contar una historia. Y ahí lo que nos moviliza es pensar que la fotografía no solamente es un testimonio de los hechos, sino que también es un acto de resistencia ante las narrativas que reproducen estigmas y perpetúan la violencia. En ese sentido, la elección de lo que quiero fotografiar y cómo quiero contar una historia es fundamental para nosotros en PRESSENZA. La subjetividad es clave, no necesariamente como uno ve las cosas, las ven los demás. En ese sentido, toda perspectiva importa. Y nuestras fotografías en PRESSENZA buscan mostrar la complejidad de la vida humana, con sus tensiones, por supuesto, pero también con sus momentos de conexión, de lucha y de transformación. El reportaje fotográfico en PRESSENZA acompaña la palabra, acompaña las notas de prensa, acompaña las noticias. No solamente ilustra lo que se dice, sino que también enriquece la historia y ofrece una perspectiva visual que ayuda y motiva la reflexión y la acción, ¿no? Nuestra audiencia no solamente lee las palabras, sino que también lee las imágenes, y eso no debemos perderlo de vista. Pensamos que la fotografía es un agente de transformación. Elegir lo que fotografiamos y cómo lo presentamos contribuye no solo a comprender los hechos, sino a construir una nueva realidad fundamentada en valores como la no violencia, la inclusión y la dignidad humana. Esa es la aspiración permanente de quienes colaboramos con fotografías para PRESSENZA, de que nuestras imágenes reflejen esos valores, reflejen la inclusión y sobre todo muestren un rostro de dignidad humana en todas las personas a quienes fotografiamos. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias, Walker. Tan sintético como son las imágenes. Thank you, Walker. So we thank everybody who joined this activity, the speakers, the attendees, and we pass now to the next. We give the floor to Jorge. And thank you very much. Big hug for everybody.